We want the Big Ten schedule.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. Thank you so much for being here, making this your first listen, your first watch, your first thing you do every day. I know you don't even get out of bed without listening or watching Locked On Hoosiers. So thank you so much for doing that. Shout out to all of my everydayers who are here each and every day. And those of you that are engaging with us on social media and in the YouTube comments, you guys have been great. So keep doing that. I really, really do appreciate that. Where in the world is the Big Ten schedule for Indiana basketball and all of the Big Ten teams? Because I'm tired of waiting around. I'm tired of waiting for it. I want it now. You should demand it. I've seen a ton of you asking this question, and we're going to address that on the show today. Plus, when we look at some of these opponents, we'll go back through who we're going to be playing this year. I think experience is going to help this team quite a bit for Indiana basketball and Mike Woodson. Plus, the ESPN FPI predicted all of the games for Indiana football. We'll visit that at the end of the show as well. Well, this conversation isn't coming up out of the blue. This is not something new. So many of you have been asking the question, where is the Big Ten schedule? Where is the finalized schedule of who we're playing, when we're playing, where we're playing, and what time that we're playing, right? We want to know these things. It's getting into that time of year that we start learning. And I've seen a lot of you talk about this, but the SEC schedules dropped yesterday. Did you happen to take a look at any of those? Any of the SEC basketball schedule? There's some doozies in there now, and that SEC is a good conference. So where's the Big Ten schedule? With my luck, it'll drop today when this episode comes out. But everything I've read, everywhere I look, it will be released at a later date. That's all I've been able to find. I haven't even gotten an official day yet. So with my luck, my timing, it'll come out and this will be an older video. But hey, maybe we could cause a stir in the Big Ten and just demand that we get the Big Ten schedule for Indiana basketball. But no, it is exciting when it does come out and we get a chance to look at it and start looking at different stretches, right? Okay, wow, look at that 3-game stretch. That's going to be tough. But man, you get these 2 big games back to back at home, and man, you get to end of the year doing this, right? You get to start breaking down that schedule. So we will do that for you here on Locked On Hoosiers as soon as it happens. But while we're here, I want to remind you of who we do play in the Big Ten schedule this year. We know who we're playing, and we do know where. We just don't know when it'll be in the year and what times it'll be, obviously TV and all that type of stuff. But a reminder on who Indiana is playing this year in basketball, okay? Here are just the home games. These are teams that you're going to be playing only at home and only one time. Illinois, which I think is really, really exciting. Maryland, which I also think is exciting. Michigan, I think is exciting. It's a very improved Michigan team with a new head coach in Dusty May. Minnesota, okay. Rutgers, could be interesting. UCLA, could be interesting. USC, maybe not so much. So just the home team or the games that you're playing, the teams that you're playing once at home, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Rutgers, UCLA, and USC. The games you're playing just on the road, Iowa, Michigan State, Nebraska, Northwestern, Oregon, Washington, and Wisconsin. Not as much of a fan of the games on the road. They're going to be tough. There's really no easy place to play on the road. I mean, look, I don't know what Iowa's going to be yet this year, but if they're good, that place can get loud. Michigan State, we know what East Lansing is. Nebraska, well, historically, yeah. Northwestern, got to make up for that this year. What an embarrassment that was for us a year ago. And then you make your 2 West Coast trips to Oregon, to Eugene, and Seattle and Washington. That's going to be exciting. That's really, really cool to take those 2 trips, right? You have the 4 newcomers that are here. 2 of them come here, and we'll go to the other 2, and then a trip to Wisconsin at some point in the season. Then a reminder, you have 3 teams that you'll play home and away. So you'll see these 3 teams twice this season. The Buckeyes of Ohio State and Columbus, Penn State, In-State College, and Purdue, of course. So overall, do I think, and again, we don't know how this is going to stack up, but do I think this is an easy schedule just based off of the opponents and the road trips that you have to take? No, I don't. I don't think this will be an easy schedule. And I just ask that we don't get the short end of the stick. Can we just not get the absolute worst schedule this year in terms of, don't make us go to Michigan State on Saturday, turn around and go and play Wisconsin or Nebraska in the midweek, and then come home and have to host Purdue. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, just don't make it brutal for us. And hopefully, and this is a huge conversation when these teams were added to the Big Ten, surely, if the Big Ten has any sort of a brain, anybody in that building that has any sort of IQ level above 5, they would not make any team play at Purdue, then go out to Oregon, come back home to Bloomington, and then go back out to Seattle, Washington. Can we all agree how idiotic that would be? So I'm hoping they find a way, and this is not just for basketball. This is across a lot of sports. I look at soccer, volleyball, baseball, softball, those types of sports where you play a lot of games, you have a lot of matches, a lot of events. Man, you can't be traveling back and forth that much. And so hopefully when you go out to play Oregon, you just stay out there and you play Washington. You play that Oregon game on a, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, and then you turn around and play Washington Saturday or Sunday, and then you can come back home to Bloomington. Like, doesn't that make the most sense to you? Makes sense to me, but we don't work in the Big Ten. So hopefully that's how that's going to stack up. But very excited for Ohio State, Penn State, Purdue as your 3 home and away games. I think Ohio State's much improved. Penn State, we'll see. And then Purdue will be Purdue. But overall, what we need, what we want, what we demand is the Big Ten finalized schedule. And I hope we get it soon. And we'll have that all for you right here on Locked On Hoosiers. Well, coming up next, speaking of the schedule and all those really tough opponents, tough road trips, and even, some tough home games as well, I think experience on this Indiana basketball team will help us kind of guide through that this year. I'll talk about that coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature on its ticketing app called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And coming up on Labor Day, Game Time has a 50% off offer for Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. So if you happen to be out in that area and you want to go and check that out, but wanted to make sure we got that in there for Labor Day. So be sure to keep that in mind. Some of my favorite parts about Game Time is the all-in pricing. When you toggle this feature, okay, you got to toggle it, but once you do, it's going to show you your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. So turn that on. You'll see your price. That's what you pay. No surprise fees, nothing. Everything is included with the all-in pricing. And with their lowest price guarantee, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you do find a better price. So you're not getting any of that with any other app other than Game Time. Download the Game Time app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Game Time when using code LOCKEDONCollege. Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we've got something a little different for you today. Now through September 22nd, all right, all FanDuel customers can bet $5, just $5, and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Have you used NFL Sunday Ticket before? I do. I have a subscription. I use it every season. It is phenomenal. For somebody that's working so much Friday nights, Saturdays, Sunday's my one day to just chill out, use my FanDuel app, and watch every single NFL game using NFL Sunday Ticket. So then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. So you get that by betting $5 on FanDuel, and they're going to give you a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket. So visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to download America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate you making this your first listen, your first watch, your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. And shout out to all of my everydayers because you guys are really showing up, and I really do appreciate that. And so if you're looking for a way to support this show, which is free to you, audio, video, every single day, Monday through Friday, be sure that you do a couple of things for me. If you're on YouTube, like this video, okay? Comment down below. What games are you looking forward to the most in the Big Ten basketball schedule? How do you want it to stack up? Are you excited about going to Oregon and Washington? Are you going to be fired up when UCLA walks into this building? How historic is that going to be, huh? Comment down below your thoughts on the Big Ten opponents and what you want to see out of the schedule. And then the best way to help us out, hit our show logo and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That tells me that you want to be here, you're an everydayer, and that you're enjoying the content. So be sure you do those things. And my audio listeners, subscribe there if you can, follow there if you can, turn on notifications if you can, so you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Well, with all of these tough games that are coming in the Big Ten schedule, right? Illinois at home, Michigan at home, welcoming UCLA and USC, playing Ohio State and Purdue, who I think Ohio State's much improved, and Purdue is, well, Purdue. And taking road trips like Michigan State and Oregon and Wisconsin. That's not an easy Big Ten schedule. And so you may be asking, okay, well, how do we weather the storm? How do we beat it? How do we become a really good team? And I was starting to think about this for a little bit, and I think it's going to be the experience on this Indiana team. Look at some of the ages and the classifications that these guys are in on our roster. You have, and some of these guys are not going to play, and it's not necessarily just their years in college, but just the type of experience that they've had. I look at an Anthony Leal at guard. Yes. Let me say this. Is he going to start? No. Will he be one of the first guys off the bench? No, probably not. But you at least have a senior leader in there who has played basketball, who's had some incredible moments in his college basketball career. So if something does happen, God forbid, you do have somebody that you could technically rely on. You brought in Luke Goody through the transfer portal. He's a senior. That's a dude that's played tons and tons and tons of high-level college basketball. You bring him in immediately, and he is a leader when you hit adversity on the road, when you get into a non-conference game in neutral site and it's like, oh gosh, what the heck just happened to us? Bam. You expect a guy like Luke Goody to stand up and have something to say. I say the same thing about Umar Ballo and Langdon Hatton, right? 3 guys you brought in through the transfer portal are senior. And Dallas James, for that matter, too, the senior who was brought in from South Carolina State. You brought in 4 major seniors on this team through the transfer portal. And look, I know that there are complications there and there could be some downfall there. It could be a little bit of a slow start there. I get that. I do. I get it. But where I'm going with this is rather than trying to rely on a sophomore, Mackenzie Mbako, who I don't say that in a bad way. I'm saying he just hasn't played as much basketball as some of these other guys. Whereas you've got dudes that have played 4, 5, 6 years of college basketball. they know how to handle it. They know how to address certain situations and get out of sticky problems, right? They understand, okay, we just got punched in the mouth on the road in East Lansing. Let's see if we can get out of this. Here's how we're going to do it. Stick with me, stick together, and let's go. And some people, and this is what's so fascinating to me about basketball, because some guys will do it with their words, right? Some guys will do it in a short huddle after a foul. Some guys will do it in the huddle on the timeout, on the bench. Some guys will just say it while they're playing basketball, while they're running around on defense, offense, whatever. Other guys, and I'm curious to see who this is going to be this year, because you still have Trey Galloway as a senior as well. Some guys say it with their words, yes. But some guys, they just do it with their play. They just do it with their play on the floor. And it just depends. Sometimes that's better, sometimes it's not. But there are some guys that, look, speaking up and giving a motivational speech, that's just not their thing. But what they will do is they'll go get you a bucket. They'll get a defensive stop. They'll dive for a loose ball on the floor. They'll get in the heads of the opponent. They will do whatever they have to do to help their team get back into the ball game. That's what I love seeing. That seems to be more of a Trey Galloway type of mentality, does it not? I mean, just gritty. When Trey Galloway digs down and becomes the player he wants to be, he is one of the toughest dudes on the floor. He can hang around in any type of blacktop street basketball because he just finds an inner anger almost, and he can help this team in so many ways. So I want to see, on top of Trey Galloway, who else can do that? Because you're telling me when this team goes on the road to Oregon, they're not going to be ready. When this team goes on the road to Wisconsin, they're not going to be ready. Columbus or Purdue, like, give me a break, man. There's going to be some serious road atmospheres, especially if we, Indiana, are as good as we think we're going to be. We're going to have some of the toughest road games anybody faces this season because I expect us to be that good. So I need some dudes to step up. I need somebody who's a vocal leader. I need somebody who's an emotional leader. I need somebody who is a public leader, one you're going to see on TV and hear about on the radio and hear about in podcasting, and then maybe somebody in the locker room who, yeah, you don't hear a whole lot about, but the coach comes out and says in February, man, we really have a great leader in this guy who you don't see a whole lot of it, but in the locker room, he's that dude. Okay, cool. And then I want to see somebody do it on the floor too. It's like, okay, we're down 10-2 to start the game. Give me the ball. I'm scoring, getting this stop. And we're getting our head out of you-know-where, and we're going to turn this thing around. And you know what? I believe that Indiana can have all of those. And I also believe that for teams that want to compete for national championships in college basketball, and really sports in general, you have to have almost all of those. You have to have almost all of those if you want to be competitive. Because what if you don't? What if you don't have somebody that's willing to speak up? What if you don't have somebody that's willing to hear you complain, let you let off a little steam, and then move on? What if you don't have a guy that just takes over a game and does it on his own and gets that defensive play or locks up somebody or takes a hard charge? If you don't have those type of gritty players, you're not going to win, not in this conference by any means. And so, sure, is the Big Ten schedule going to be tough when we finally get it? Yeah, probably. But I think we're built for it. I think we're built for it with talent. And I also think we're built for it with leadership as well. Well, coming up in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, want to look at the ESPN FPI for Indiana football, revisiting this conversation because, man, Indiana just continues to get disrespected. It really is crazy how this is happening for Indiana football. I don't get it. I guess I do, but it still makes me mad. So want to revisit that and give you some more thoughts on why ESPN is flat out wrong in their predictions for Indiana football. We'll have that coming up next in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Ibotta. Are you taking that dream vacation even though school has started? Are you trying to squeeze it in right here before August is over, but you're dreading the cost? With Ibotta, you get cash back on all of your purchases, so you can spend more time making memories and less time dreaming about them. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. Could you use an extra $256? I could spend it on a ton of different things. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner that you and the Mr. or Mrs. have been craving. It's time that you join the over 50 million users who use Ibotta to earn cash back every time that they shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONCollege when you register. So just go to the App Store or Google Play, download the free Ibotta app, that's IBOTTA, and start earning cash back and use the code LOCKEDONCollege. That's how you're going to get an extra $5, okay? You've got to use the code LOCKEDONCollege. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONCollege. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you again for being here. Shout out to all of my everydayers. I see you, I hear you, and as I say, I do appreciate you. And while this is your first listen, your first watch every single day, been telling you the next place to go, your second watch today, your second listen, there's only one place to go. Just one. Go check out Locked On College Football, okay? That is my boy Spencer. He is over there killing it right now on Locked On College Football as week 0 is here. We are in week 0 of college football, so he's going to have all that covered for you on the Locked On College Football podcast. Your third listen can be Locked On College Basketball as we still get ready for the basketball season as well. Isaac and Andy do a phenomenal job there, so go check them out, and hey, tell them that Jacob from Locked On Hoosiers sent you, okay? And speaking of football, since it is week 0 and next week is week 1 for college football, want to revisit the ESPN FPI that predicted Indiana's football schedule this season. And I'm not going to go into the details about what the FPI is, right? It's a bunch of numbers about your team, and they run a ton of simulations, and they pump out these percentages of how much they think you're going to win, what percentage of a winning percentage is, right? Your chance to win the games. Well, ESPN, they are disrespecting Indiana, as is everybody. Nobody has any hope for Indiana. Oh, what a poor program they are. We feel so sorry for them. They'll be at the bottom of the Big Ten. Who is Kurt Signetti and all that? Like, give me a break, man. Kurt Signetti is going to be the dude, and I think he's doing a lot of great things. Am I predicting a Big Ten championship? No. But the fact that ESPN does not have us winning a Big Ten game, I disagree. I totally disagree with ESPN. So just to let you know quickly, they have us beating FIU just based off of percentages. They have us beating Western Illinois. They also have us beating Charlotte in our 3 non-conference games, okay? UCLA on the road in week 3. Only a 22% chance to win. False. Absolutely false. Is it a road trip? Yes. Is it a long road trip? Yes. But is UCLA a good football team? No. And so I think that Indiana has a legitimate chance to win this game. Could you imagine what that does for the season if we do win that and you start 4-0 when you go and host Maryland? I'd be cool with that. What about you? Are you okay with that? How about we just tell them we're fine with it and see if they want to do it, okay? We are not supposed to beat Maryland, 37%. On the road at Northwestern, and I had a conundrum about this the other day. 33% chance to beat Northwestern on the road? Seriously? It's not even a real road game. We're playing at a high school stadium next to a pond. And now Northwestern is still not a good football team. And I think Indiana's just going to be more talented, more physical, and just flat out better. So I have us winning this game, if I'm being completely honest with you. Home versus Nebraska, 38%. I don't know what Nebraska is going to be just yet. I need to see them at a couple of games before I can make a educated guess on this one. So I don't hate that percentage. Home versus Washington, 34%. Could be interesting. I'm glad they're coming here, right? Glad we don't have to go and play at Washington. We do have to play at Michigan State, and a 41% chance to win just seems a little high. I don't know. I mean, look, that's not going to be a good football team in Michigan State, but on the road there, I don't know. Seems a little high. Home versus Michigan, yeah, 17%. At Ohio State, yeah, it's 5%. Let's not kid ourselves. But then home versus Purdue. This is the one I have the biggest issue with as we wrap up the show. ESPN has predicted that Purdue football is going to come into Bloomington at the end of the season and win. I just don't see it. I really don't. I don't see how this is going to happen because I think, again, same thing I talked about against Northwestern. Indiana will be more physical, more talented, better coached, and just flat out a better football team. That's not happening. Indiana, we are winning at least 2 Big Ten games, if not 3 Big Ten games, which, you know what that means? Means we're going bowling, ladies and gentlemen. Means that we could go to a bowl game if we do what I think we can do, which in year 1 with Curt Cignetti would be a major, major victory. So I think that's what's going to happen. Nobody's respecting us, including ESPN and the numbers, and that's okay. We'll just have to prove them wrong in year 1 under head coach Curt Cignetti. Yeah, get it right, folks. I know it, but most people don't. So let's get that right, okay? All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Man, what a fun episode. We're having just a blast over here at Locked On Hoosiers. And if you're an everydayer, I hope you're having fun as well. And if you are having a good time, be sure you like the video, comment down below. How many wins is Indiana football getting this year? I need to know. Are we going to beat anybody in the Big Ten? Give me your predictions in the YouTube comments. And be sure you subscribe to our channel. That's the best way to support this show. It's the free way to support us for a free show. All right. I help you, you help me, and we're going to be just fine. So thank you so much for being here. We will be back tomorrow. Okay. So until then, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.